We'll have the latest after a violent demonstration at the U.S. Capitol. We'll hear from a four-state woman who was there.
Rioters and thugs don't run the Capitol.
And regional lawmakers who were forced to seek safety.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
New images show the damage left behind by rioters in our nation's capital, as their actions left broken glass and a country wondering what's next. At least one Joplin resident was in Washington when the riot broke out. Abby Covington, who led the recall effort against the Joplin City Council, went to Washington, D.C. when she heard there was going to be a protest at the Capitol against the Electoral College results. Covington took this video during what she says was initially just a protest before members of the crowd stormed the Capitol building. Krista Stark with the Southwest Missouri Democrats says what took place in Washington was anything but a protest.
They can say a lot of things about how they just intended this to be a protest, but storming the Capitol, tearing down the flag from Nancy Pelosi's office and crumpling it up on her desk is sedition. It's not a protest.
Tonight at 10, we're going to hear more from Krista Stark on the Southwest Missouri Democrats' perspective, as well as from Abby Covington and the experience she had at the Capitol. Once authorities cleared the Capitol of rioters, lawmakers returned to work to certify the 2020 election results. Many, including Oklahoma Senator James Lankford, took to the podium to condemn the violence they had just witnessed. Lankford had originally stated his intention to object to certifying the electoral vote, but after the riot, he said he'd changed his mind and called for unity.
In Oklahoma, we'd say something like, why in God's name would someone think attacking law enforcement and occupying the United States Capitol is the best way to show that you're right? Why would you do that? Rioters and thugs don't run the Capitol. We're the United States of America.
Following a number of speeches and objections while most Americans slept, late last night, lawmakers officially certified President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris's victory.
Joseph R. Biden, Jr. of the state of Delaware has received 306 votes.
Newly elected Senator Roger Marshall from Kansas issued a statement following the vote that said, in part, quote, Joe Biden is the president-elect, and we must and will have a peaceful transition of power on January 20th. Anything less is not an option. To be explicitly clear, Joe Biden will be our next president, end quote. He also condemned the mob that overran the Capitol, saying, your actions were despicable, and each of you, the rioters, vandals, and trespassers, should be prosecuted to the fullest extent. Protests yesterday also took place at a number of state capitol buildings, including the one in Oklahoma. While authorities say the protest in Oklahoma City was mostly peaceful, they did arrest one person. Authorities say that person was arrested on complaints of attempted arson and assault and battery after they attempted to set fire to other people's flags. The Oklahoma legislature was not in session at the time, and much of the crowd dispersed after a light rain began to fall. Let's check in now with Doug Heddy for a first look at the weather. Doug.
Hey, Dow. It turned out to be a cloudy, cold day for us today. We had a little bit of snow last night in portions of the area and then rain through the morning hours, but most of us have been drying out at least over the past couple hours. Cold, though, 33 to start, 38 for a high, well shy of our average high of 44 degrees, but we are still socked in with the clouds, even though most of the snow, most of the rain is now off to our east, and it's going to continue to rotate away from us. So we're going to be mainly dry as we head through the evening into the overnight hours tonight as this storm system wraps up, heads away from us, but behind it, it's kind of cold. Most of us are sitting into the mid-30s. We'll slowly drop back as we work through the evening hours. We have these kind of light northeasterly winds. Temperatures will drop into the upper 20s later on tonight. Of course, we're going to look ahead and see what is to come here in just a bit.
And we'll catch you then. Thanks, Doug. The Newton County, Missouri Sheriff's Office is getting new rifles, specifically 31 custom patrol rifles from Black Rain Ordnance Incorporated. That gun manufacturer, established in 2009, has local roots. The founders and core management team are from Neosho and the Newton County area.
We always like to keep everything local when possible. Like I said, these people here live here, they work here, and keeping the money and business in Newton County, especially when they gave us the best deal, is really a good deal, worked out well for all of us. But it feels very good to have an organization like this want to support us in our efforts.
Black Rain Ordnance says it's had a long relationship with Newton County area law enforcement. The company will also provide maintenance and training services. Macy's will close its store at Joplin's North Park Mall. The company says the closure is part of a strategy announced early last year. Macy's says its regular non-seasonal employees who cannot be transferred to other nearby Macy's stores will be eligible for severance. The store, which has been at North Park Mall for 33 years, intends to have a clearance sale beginning this month that'll run for about 8 to 12 weeks. Still ahead, the state of Oklahoma moves to another stage of its vaccination plan. We're going to explain what that means for you. And we learn about one of the tools in Freeman Hospital's arsenal in the fight against COVID-19. The state of Oklahoma is moving into another stage of its vaccination plan. So who is now getting vaccinated? Well, everybody in phase 1 is still able to get vaccinated. That includes frontline healthcare workers and nursing home residents and staff. Now, in the beginning of phase 2, more people are permitted to get vaccinated. That includes healthcare workers who work outside of hospital settings, first responders, adults 65 and older, and adults of any age with comorbidities.
Well, we knew that all of Oklahoma needed the vaccine and they wanted the vaccine, and as quickly as we were able to provide it, they signed up for it and made their appointments, and we were able to get it to them.
The next stage of phase 2 will bring in teachers and public health staff. Freeman Hospital is shining some light on one of its tools in the fight against COVID-19. It's called monoclonal antibody therapy. It's used in patients who are most at risk of becoming seriously ill, but must be used before they get sick. The therapy is an outpatient procedure.
They are not magic bullets or any type of miracle cures. It probably takes from around 15 to 20 patients to actually get the medication before we would see one that got a benefit from it. And we're not even 100% sure that we will see that benefit.
Freeman has used therapy on 100 patients so far. In coming weeks, the city of St. Louis, Missouri will begin a new program intended to divert mental health calls away from 911. It's an effort that could reduce the number of calls to dispatch while also pairing police officers with social workers for safer interactions and outcomes. Alexis Zotos has more on how it would work.
At the end of the day, this is about saving people's lives, right? And so we want to make sure that people are connected to the resources that they need.
A new approach to public safety. In the next month, St. Louis City hopes to divert thousands of 911 calls to behavioral health response, where trained professionals can help with mental health situations. Right now, St. Louis City Dispatch handles around 700,000 911 calls a year, a concern News 4 has reported on numerous times. This program could reduce that by around 5,000.
It will, and then eventually, I believe, diminish those calls, but it also will let the dispatchers know you don't have to figure this all out, right? Just like the police officer on the scene doesn't have to figure it all out by themselves.
Wilford Pickney works for the mayor's office and is a former New York City police officer. He explains the second part of the program involves sending trained social workers out with police on calls determined to involve mental health concerns.
Our clinicians are on the scene with the police officer. They talk to the person, they make sure everything is de-escalated, and then they make sure the person has a safety plan.
The city is funding the program by diverting $860,000 from the budget for the medium security institution, also known as the Workhouse. This program is similar to what many activists behind calls to defund the police have been asking for, an effort to use someone other than police to de-escalate certain situations.
The goal is not to defund the police. The goal is to fund the services that people need.
Behavior Health Response, which is partnering with the city, provides crisis support and mental health resources 24 hours a day. Doug Hetty is up next with his complete forecast. And a little bit later, health professionals in Arkansas who are fighting against COVID-19 now have a new adversary: misinformation. We're going to hear how they're taking it on.
Well, of course, a cloudy, cold day for us today. We had the rain last night and then mixed with and changed over to a little bit of snow, mainly on the Missouri side, but a quick ½ inch, and then it melted a couple hours later. But it does give us 4.5 inches of snow for the season, plus a ½ inch of ice. Average snowfall around here is about 12 inches during a winter season. All right, for at least the next few days, we stay cold, mainly dry, kind of in a calm part of the pattern, so not a ton going on. You can get my long-range forecast on my month-long blog. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. You can see the storm systems kind of lining up down the road. It is cold. It's going to stay cold for us tonight. Most of us are sitting into the mid-30s. Case in point, 34 in Nevada, Monette, 33, 37 in Grove. We have 36 in Independence. Iola is checking in at about 35 degrees. At the station, we sit at 36, north winds, 5 to 10. Humidity is at 82%. We could get a little bit of patchy fog once again tonight, so watch out for that as our temperatures slide back through the 30s, eventually into the upper 20s for overnight lows. All the rain and the snow that we did have last night into the morning hours is pretty much out of here. It's pretty persistent rain through yesterday evening into the overnight hours, and you can see the snow kind of overtaking after midnight. And then most of the showers are pretty much gone. This whole storm system is wrapping up, heading away from us, but we're still socked in with the clouds. We're going to have a lot of clouds as we work through the next couple days, as this whole storm system is covering about half the country. And then we have weak little waves that are going to drop in behind it. You can see one right across eastern parts of Montana. That'll keep some clouds around, and then another storm system right off the coast of the Pacific Northwest. For us tonight, clouds, a little bit of fog, upper 20s for overnight lows. We are going to get some sunshine tomorrow. It's just not going to be mostly sunny. It's at least going to be partly to mostly cloudy skies. 27 to start, 34 by noon. High temp right around 37 during the afternoon. We'll have those light northerly winds at about 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy. I think as we head into Saturday, again, another cold start. We'll get a little bit more sunshine on Saturday, but it's still going to be cold. We're only going to have high temps into the upper 30s. Next storm system on Sunday drops in, but it drops mainly south of us. You can see rain and snow across southern parts of Oklahoma, parts of Texas, even into Arkansas. We may get a random flurry late Sunday into Monday, but besides that, not a lot going on. That system is going to stay mainly south of us. Our next bigger storm system is going to roll in on Thursday. This will give us a strong cold front. Pretty good chances for rain, maybe even a little bit of snow, but until then, we just don't have too much that is going on across the region. We're going to drop back to 27 tonight, 37 tomorrow, 39 Saturday, 38 on Sunday. Most of the weekend's going to be okay. It's just going to be chilly. 41 on Monday, back into the 50s on Tuesday, 60 on Wednesday, and then starting to cool down with rain chances increasing by next Thursday.
If it's going to be cold, at least it's nice to see the sun during these short days. I think it helps with our mood a little bit.
It does, and also playoff football this weekend, so I can handle that.
That's right, lots of it. Thanks, Doug. Still ahead, a plea from health professionals: trust the science. We're going to hear from an Arkansas doctor who's working to battle misinformation in the natural state. Since the pandemic took hold across our nation, healthcare workers, professionals have been waging two wars, one with the virus, another with misinformation. That other battle is ramping up more as doctors and nurses work to encourage Americans to get a vaccine when available to them. Melissa Zigowicz shows us how that fight is playing out in Arkansas.
This is not an exaggeration. The numbers are as they are.
That was Dr. Jose Romero at the governor's weekly press conference Tuesday, visibly upset and frustrated as Arkansas sees another day with more than 4,000 cases, warning the numbers could get even worse.
Because what we are seeing now is what I and all of us have warned about. That is a surge on top of a surge.
What's so disheartening is, as a scientist and a physician, is the amount of disinformation.
Dr. Cam Patterson, the chancellor of UAMS, feels we are not doing enough to slow the spread. He says places like churches are holding large services without masks, ignoring guidelines recommended by the governor.
You hate to think that you thought you were going to celebrate your religious beliefs, and in turn, you were actually going to a super spreader of that.
False information about the vaccine is also rampant. Frustrating for Dr. Patterson.
Everything that is done to influence somebody not to get the vaccine, that's not just impacting them, it's impacting all of us.
At least 70% of Arkansans will need to be vaccinated to return to normal. That's why he's asking you to rely on information coming from scientists about the vaccine to make a well-informed decision for yourself and your family.
So no, Bill Gates has not put a microchip in the vaccine. We've given out over 4,000 doses of the vaccine here at UAMS without anything even moderately severe in terms of reactions.
Again, that was Melissa Zigowitz reporting. A final check on the weather is next. Take time now to honor a local veteran of the U.S. Army. Farlington, Kansas native George Davenport served in 1946 and 47. He was part of an infantry regiment stationed in Korea and received a World War II Victory Medal and Army of Occupation Medal. And we are proud to salute George Davenport, a four-state hero. To learn about other heroes or to submit a hero of your own anytime, you just go to our website. You see it there, koamnewsnow.com. At long last, a Fort Scott, Kansas sailor killed in the attack at Pearl Harbor is coming home. Fireman 3rd Class William Barnett was 21 years old, stationed aboard the USS West Virginia on that fateful day in 1941. A torpedo attack killed 106 crewmen, including Barnett. But his remains and the remains of dozens of others were interred as unknowns at the National Cemetery of the Pacific in Hawaii. Well, now investigators have exhumed some remains for analysis, and Barnett is among those identified. On May 29th of this year, Navy Fireman 3rd Class William Barnett will be buried in his hometown of Fort Scott. Let's check back with Doug Heddy for a final look at the weather.
All right, Dow, it's going to be cold tonight. We're going to have a little bit of fog out there as well as we drop back to about 27. Still a lot of clouds tomorrow. We are going to get some sun, just not mostly sunny skies. 37, 39 on Saturday, 38 on Sunday. So we stay mainly dry. It's just going to be kind of cold across the region. We will start to warm things back up a bit by next week.
Thanks, Doug. A reminder to stay up to date on the latest news, weather, and sports. Download the KOAM News app. It is free. It's in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. All you have to do is search for KOAM News app. Why not do it right now? Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.